So today, in continuation with the same mental health series, we are seeing various topics to improve your awareness on mental health and to live a very happy life. So in continuation with that, today's topic is about counseling and psychotherapy. So many are like wondering what really happens in a counseling session, and some people call themselves as marital therapist, and there is also someone called as child psychologist, and also we have come across grief counselors. So like this, there are various terms. So who are these people and how should I choose the right person? And what really happens is a mystical question many people have in their head. And what way are they going to help me solve my own problems? Can't I solve my problems by talking to my friend's heart out? Or can't I solve the problem by myself? Why should I even need an expert help for all this? So for all your questions, you can look for the answers in this video. So let me clarify first about like what is counseling. So in counseling, what happens is, just to talk more on counseling, I need to first clarify what kind of problem you can resort to a counselor. For example, let's say you need to have some tips on how to cope up with your stress right now in your life, and like you're just going ahead in your life and you see a bump and you're not able to further proceed in your life and you think that you may need some external help. Now the question is, in what way your friends are going to help you and in what way the counselor may help you. So these questions many people initially used to ask, and it may be in your head as well. So when we say friends help, first thing we should understand that they may have their own emotions and they may have their own preoccupations, and they can also be judgmental because they know you and they're going to interact with you further also. So once you talk about your problems, and from then on their perception on you might change. So that might change the equation of the relationship with you in hand. Moreover, these people can tell some examples from their experiences, making it more subjective. And also the credibility. You may not completely listen to them thinking, okay, he only knows this much. So these are various barriers where friends cannot be of a good choice when it comes to some problems which is not allowing to live a very happy and peaceful life. And sometimes you feel like with little help maybe I can just get up and go on. In those situations where you are experiencing some current problems are the times where you need to go for a counselor. Maybe in case you are going through a very tough transition in your life, maybe a divorce, the separation, or you've lost your spouse, and you lost your loved ones, or you had a breakup, or you have some problems parenting your tough child, and all these are the scenarios which call for a counseling experiences, which can be more short term and it gives you a solution. And many times people think that it's advice. Please be clear, counseling it is not at all advising you. Okay, so counseling, we don't advise you, we help you to and guide you to reach your own solution. By the time you keep talking about yourself and the listening goes on in a very non-judgmental way where you can just talk anything, whatever you feel like, nobody's going to judge you. And that itself, that kind of environment itself will give you a lot of clarity about your thoughts, your own feelings, and take you towards a solution. I've seen a lot of clients, they just come hardly for one session and get things sorted out and go with a happy mind and with a clarity in their head, I would say rather. And there are some people who may need a little longer sessions, and in my experience I would say the average like 7 to 8 sessions and 45 minutes it does happen. 45 minutes to 1 hour the counseling happens. And what really happens in the beginning, in the first session, where you may be really nervous about opening about your problems and how he or she would judge you, with all these connotations you may enter. But then if you meet a right counselor, you will feel blessed and you feel like, I got the best thing in my life to just go on with a lot of harmony and problems, more problem solving way rather than getting stuck. So you and also many times like people come for even their weight loss goals or wanting to go up in the career ladder, and for career guidance sessions, and for students who want more better study skills to perform better in their life. For all this scenario which is not related anywhere to the past but just stuck in the present, for those situations counseling can be a good solution. So this is how to do about counseling, which is basically a talk therapy where we talk for 45 minutes to 1 hour per session. And then give you initially in the first session what happens is case history is taken. Basically, you understand what kind of person you are and what is the problem you're facing, if there is any symptom, and all these things, understanding and listening mostly happens in the first few sessions for rapport building and trust building. Only then we probe more into the deeper issues. And now the question is, what happens in the psychotherapy? We call it as a marital therapist or a relationship therapist, and what really happens there? Psychotherapy is mostly meant for more deeper issues which is connected to the past. Okay, so when you have some chronic problems which keeps on happening and you see a pattern in your relationship, or you see a similar kind of problems you're experiencing in your work which may be cropping from your childhood, so this actually requires some more deep inquiry. So we need to look into the core issues and then correct those core issues so that you don't get into similar issues in future. So this psychotherapy can be a long term. So it can be even more longer term compared to counseling, which is more short term. It can even go for years, where we meet people once a week or sometimes bi-weekly, and also sometimes once a month. So it is spaced up in that way depending on the problems. So in psychotherapy, I have clients who have been seeing for even years. So in such situations where they cannot function without your support, they need psychotherapy. For people who are more normal, who have insight into their problem and who can function on their own self, counseling is recommended. So in these situations, with these ideas, you should be able to choose a counselor or a therapist. But in India and South India, we are talking about the South India condition as well as India as a whole, this kind of distinction is not very clear cut. Probably when you look into American, US the background, or in UK, where we can see all this kind of specializations, and lot of distinctions can be made between various counselors and psychotherapists. But in India, it's only cropping up now, and one person does everything. So now only things are getting more specialized, and lot of colleges are offering psychology as a course, and there are various branches in psychology to deal with school related issue. We call them school psychologists, and who deal with career related issues, we call them the career guidance counselors as well, both related to the school setup, as well as we look in a clinical psychologist who are different from a regular psychologist, whereas a clinical psychologist are trained to diagnose a mental health condition in par with the psychiatrist. But again, clinical psychologists cannot prescribe medication. They can practice various psychotherapies. And to psychotherapy, most of the psychotherapists practice are CBT, that is cognitive behavioral therapy, and there are few other therapies. Just to name a few is Gestalt therapy, DBT is dialectical behavior therapy. So like this, and brief solution focused therapies. So likewise, we can go and talk about various therapies which are there coming now in the field, and all the professionals should always update their knowledge on these therapies to be practiced for various mental health conditions. And psychotherapy is also recommended for people with mild mental health issues like anxiety, depression, those kind of issues only you should go more for psychotherapeutical interventions. Otherwise, for regular issues where you have to just deal with here and now, counseling is more appropriate. I guess you would have got some clarity about what sort of problems you need counseling and for what kind of problems you need psychotherapy. And to tell more about how changes can be brought, you can ask doctor how you can say that talk therapy can make that kind of wonderful changes in a person. Can you even treat a person with OCD, like obsessive compulsive disorder, or fear, phobia, with just talk therapy? So people who may not understand, I'll just give you a basic idea about how it works. So when we say personality, we talk about behavior, thoughts and feelings. So what happens in a counseling session or in a psychotherapy is the listening happens. So the keen listening of the counselor in a non-judgmental environment will bring about a lot of self-disclosure in the client. And from then on, we probe more deeply and analyze about your childhood also in case of psychotherapy, and try to change the wrong thought processes, which may be the reason why you are having some maladaptive emotions, which is continuing in your life, and why you are having these anger issues. There may be some wrong belief which you have learned right from your childhood because of some wrong parenting practices or child abuse or any such thing which has happened in your childhood. Only when we look into the root, then you can find some solutions. So by changing the way you think, by changing the way you behave, by changing the way you feel, lot of changes can happen in you. So just after listening just for a session also, you can see a complete change in your way you look at the problem. So people who have experienced this kind of counseling and psychotherapy can better relate to what I'm saying. So this kind of professional experiences, if you really think you need, please don't stay away from it. It's not that I'm telling that you need to go to a psychologist for every small concern in you. But if you somewhere think that I may need some professional help, don't keep yourself away from it. Just go seek it. Maybe a session or two, whatever, can help and bring a lot of differences, because in my experiences, have a lot of clients testimonial talking to me that how things have changed for them. And just because of few sessions, their marital life can improve, their parenting experiences can improve, and it can bring priceless differences in their life. You can't just imagine that. And people are hesitant to, even pay good money to psychologists in India especially. And when compared to practices in US and Britain, here in India, the price given to a psychologist and psychiatrist is very less. But then I would say this profession is actually a life-changing one, and it will prevent lot of loss of your time, effort and money in future. So this counseling and psychotherapy can bring about unimaginable changes in your life, and it can prevent you from wasting your time and resources. Time, resources is more valuable than finance, I would say, than money also. Just imagine if the student is given the right career counseling, his life and his 4 years of engineering or his 5 years of any professional course, if he is going in the right direction, lot of time and money is actually saved. Similarly, marital issues, if you take, the couples are suffering with marital issues because of the children are suffering, and because of their marital problem, this child is going to go to a future psychotherapist to address his childhood issues. So this kind of thing will have an impact on the children's study also, and this is going to have a final impact on your money, health and various other resources. So if you could just get some intervention, timely intervention, you can prevent all these things. So but then people don't understand this kind of thing, and they think, oh, it is like a rich man's affair and no, we can't afford it and all that. But if you take a closer look, it is very important. This kind of investment is it is a well-deserved investment, I would say. But then you should choose the right person. So who is listening to whichever part of India or even around the world also, you shouldn't hesitate actually to go meet a counselor or a psychotherapist. And by watching this video, I hope you can make a right choice about whether you need counseling or you need therapy, and get the right help at the right time and live the life you really deserve. So thank you for watching this video till the end, and catch you yet again in a fresh video. Bye.